What's going on, boys? Thanks to our patrons and Fiverr customers, subscribe to our Patreon free for behind-the-scenes stuff. Arm yourselves, life stuff. Recently, some people have taken it upon themselves to save me by being my friend. And that's agitating on a number of levels. First, assuming someone who lives a way you don't live needs to be rescued from their lifestyle. A lifestyle that gets tangible and intangible results. And you dipshits thinking you're the wonderful, knowledgeable, sagely people to do it, and then ultimately not acting in a friendly manner. I don't think the mechanisms of friendship revolve around interference and imposition. Again, not respecting a person's what, not caring to know their why, and thinking your behavior indicates how good of a person you are. And these sorts of people, also, who, in an effort to make themselves feel as if they know something, go around and force their opinions about life on people. And it's agitating on a number of levels. Because now I can't focus. Maybe this is an attribute of inferior FE. I need to pay close attention to the motivations and emotional states of people who will get shitty if I play the fuck off cards wrong. Not to mention the social fallout I'll get from Joe Dipshit for being a dick to people who are just so nice. But this all got me thinking about friendship. I have lots of acquaintances. I have no friends and I don't want them. Why is that? There are a bunch of reasons. First and foremost, when you are entering a friendship, you are signing a guaranteed lose contract. It doesn't matter if you lose a month from now. It doesn't matter if you lose 10 years from now. You lose. And you lose because friends expect special treatment. They expect you to do something for them or to make them feel good, to validate some part of their personality. A friend is someone you are employed by. And in this arrangement, what do? You get someone who leeches your time away from you, doing things you don't want to do, and then further leeches brain space from you, because what you'll need to do is anticipate when they'll turn on you and what they'll do when they turn on you. And maybe you can speculate about why they'll turn on you, but why is almost always the same. For whatever reason, you failed to give them the special treatment they expect out of you. And maybe they'll permit some slip-ups so graciously, but if it becomes clear to them they won't be getting from you what they expect from you, what they feel they deserve from you, either in the idea of friendship or for all the services they've rendered, i.e. all the time they've taken from you, they turn on you. They don't just leave, they feel wronged by you. They will attack you in some way. Even if it's just a small attack, you will be attacked. And if you can't make a clean break from these people, you will probably continue to be attacked. And why are they attacking you? Because they perceive you're not giving them what they expect to be given as an attack. And of course, the specifics of what they want change. usually slowly, but sometimes quickly, and they don't tell you these things either. They expect you, servant, to know them. It's a time bomb. And you can't rely on friends for anything. That's one argument, is that you create these support networks. But what is a support network? You give someone something because that's what you're expected to do, and then when you need something, either you don't get it or you do get it, but it's fucked up that you need this. It's an imposition, and now you owe big time. You're a dummy if you believe in these social contracts operating the way they're presented as if they operate. They don't operate that way. But don't you need to be able to express yourself to somebody who knows you and understands you? Your friends don't know you or understand you. And if you try to make them understand, you're an asshole. You're as bad as they are. And that's like trying to fuck a dog. You're trying to satisfy your needs using something that would probably rather you didn't, unless you're a white woman. And this is normally where I would recommend you do something like a YouTube channel or a blog, but I was thinking about that a bit more too. I think there are even other ways to express your need for expression that are safer and more productive, even without one of these social media outlets. It's hard to feel your, let's say you're a creative person, your creative works are totally expressing or satisfying this need. But do you know what I'm finding? Endeavoring to turn your work into something satisfies that expressive need too. I don't know why that is, but trying to sell something you've made satisfies the same feeling as talking about something in depth. Maybe it's because you're taking action and are being seen and heard and understood by the world. I'm not sure. But that's a way to satisfy your needs. And what even is spending time with friends? There's a second leg to this video which we'll get to, but time and evolution are a component of that, but they play a role here too. I was thinking hard about this. What made spending time with friends so satisfying back in, say, the 3rd to 5th grade? It was satisfying because it felt like with your friends you were all one person. The boundaries of your ego were blurred. And I wonder if that's something that one can achieve best in childhood. I think it is the case. Because you're learning things together, exploring things together, feeling amazed together, feeling afraid together. Multiple bodies, one soul, one set of actions and reactions. In other words, your spending time together aided you in your, I think, or I'm wondering if everything in life is a different form of ego manipulation. At that age, under those circumstances, being together like that raised your ego manipulation in a productive way. That doesn't work now because interference is interference. It detracts from your ego manipulation. When you were a kid, friends helped you or helped each other achieve your ego goals. Now, they fuck up your ego goals majorly. And you, Joe Dipshit, will act like what people are doing with their friends now, or some people are doing with their friends now, is the same thing I'm describing as when you were kids, but that's not the case. As an adult, that is not the way friendships work. That's why there are so many making friends after 30 is impossible memes. I think you make friends that you're capable of having that original sort of connection with early, and then you hold on to them. And then, past a point in life or age or ego development, it becomes impossible to have that sort of thing with new people. Romantic partners being an exception, maybe, but that's because you're conducting the ritual in a different way, in a dirtier way. Because what you listen to what I'm saying and you think I'm a dick, think I'm an asshole, but the quotes friends I referenced at the beginning of this video are what adult friendships are like. Because these are not connections between developing egos with their barriers low. These are defined egos with high walls. These friendships are not connections, they are conquests. One will subjugates another will. There is no coexistence, and there's certainly no synthesis or unity. And I think people get so mad about these friendships, quotes, rejections, on a conscious level because, wow, they're being so nice and this dickhead spat in my face. But on an unconscious level, I wanted something from this person, and they have denied me that thing. Because nobody really cares about you, if you haven't worked that out yet. If they're honest, they are interested in what you can provide them. If they are dishonest, they are interested in what you can provide them, but they say they are interested in their idea of you. Not even you. They don't even fool themselves into wanting to believe they care about you. It needs to be their idea of you, because their idea of you is the vector by which they'll get what they really want without needing to acknowledge what they are. Friends are a huge waste of time and a forfeiture of whatever they'll take or destroy when they turn on you. I recommend acquaintances. You remember Interspecies Reviewers? That holy show that I think was so popular not only because it was pornographic, which it was, there's tons of porn out there, but rather because it acknowledged the male part or the male essence of men and made it okay, not a shameful thing to hide or this awful thing, but you are this and that's okay. What a beautiful, heartening show. It's therapy disguised as comedy pornography. Acquaintances are like the hookers in that show. Acquaintances are mercenary friends. They're freelance friends, and they don't hide it. I will do this for you if you do that for me, or our connection is based openly and explicitly on our exchanging of these things for one another, and they can be friendly, but you aren't friends. You get all the benefits and none of the issues. And you can have as many acquaintances as you want. I love not talking to someone for 8 months because what we needed one another for fell through, and then being able to pick back up later with no issues once those needs returned. And everything being cool. It's beautiful. And it's even better because with friends, you shouldn't have friends at work, right? You can have acquaintances at work. Friends at work makes work bad. Like dating in the office. Dating in the office is bad. But acquaintancing in the office is really great. And maybe there is some overlap here. I think I learned it in one of my English classes, but quaint used to be a word for cunt. So getting acquainted and then acquaintances, that's great. And then perhaps not the best segue, but maybe an appropriate one, love. That's the second leg of this video. Now, we'll open this leg with a dream I outlined on the Patreon, I think a week or two ago. I had an idea of what this dream meant that day as I was thinking about it, but I didn't want to conclude on that or make that be the only conclusion because I think there is a lot more going on here, and it's also because that dream scared the shit out of me. I don't get nightmares very often. Knock on wood. I hope that made somebody think there was someone at their door. There's a particular sound effect YouTubers use that sounds exactly like someone knocking on your door when you have headphones in. But anyway, this dream felt tense while I was having it, and then when I woke up, it started scaring me more the more I thought about it. And that's a peculiar feeling to come out of a dream with. A feeling that is one way in the dream and then is different the moment you wake up and then intensifies. Because after I woke up, I knew I needed to wake up and write this down. Even if it kept me awake, and it did. Got spookier. And this dream has a title. It's called Jake and the Clones. In the dream, I think I was living with a dude named Jake. He was a convicted rapist and was open about it. His ex-girlfriend and her new boyfriend, I don't think they appeared in the dream, but somehow I knew they were carrying guns in response to Jake's existence. And Jake was very charming. He looked almost exactly like Cameron Fry, Ferris Bueller's friend. Placid, pleasant demeanor, the INFJ face and eyes and atmosphere down. And no matter what he was doing or talking about, he made you feel calm. Now, Jake was growing a clone of me in a vat, I think next to his bed. And he had a different name for it, and he tortured it constantly and said things like it deserves to be punished, this and that. And I knew he wanted to kill me, and what I needed to do was shoot him right then and there, but he placid calmed his way, or me, out of shooting him. And going, okay, alright, I see what you're saying. Knowing he wants to kill me, but I'll say I see what you're saying. And in the dream, that tension was rising the entire time we were talking. And then, I don't remember if I opened the door, or it might have already been open, but there was this huge walk-in closet filled with women, and they all looked different, but I knew they were variations or shards of one woman. And the closet was like a business. They all had desks, they had the pegboards and the shit hanging up, the bulletin boards rather. They were running all of Jake's different online businesses on his behalf, all located in his closet. And when I looked at them, they all stood totally still, but shit was still going on in the closet. I knew they were real, and Jake said, what you're looking at is actually a painting. There's no closet, there are no cloned shards of one woman, there are no online businesses. It's just a painting. It's a very good painting with a lot of depth. And once again, I knew that was a lie, and I needed to shoot him right then, but again, he calmed me out of doing it, despite the tension being through the roof. And then the dream shifted into this weird, wacky cartoon dream of me and some random dude escaping a slime factory that was overflowing with blue slime. Bizarre twist, and it was like a hard cut into this other dream. And then I woke up and realized I needed to write out all the Jake and the clones shit. I have an idea of what my unconscious is doing to me or saying to me with that dream. I don't have all of it because I don't think Jake is intended to be me literally. And while pissing for clarity just a moment ago, why I love doing videos, pissing and realizing things, with all the dreams of the shards and different people and different meanings and all this stuff, I'm wondering if Jake isn't supposed to be a shard of me, or I'm supposed to be a shard of Jake, and the building tension came from the awareness one would need to kill the other to be the primary one. I don't know. I feel confident Jake was not supposed to be me literally, but is supposed to comment on a lot of things in my life I need to be thinking about. And the reason we open the love section of this video with this dream is I think that dream is what I think about love these days. Because I haven't been in love in a long time. And shit can change. I think for me, love changed slowly, but if not totally, then almost totally, while I wasn't looking at it. Because I haven't even... I've thought about love, but I haven't thought about being in love in a long time. And you have urges, not just sexual urges, but also emotional urges for companionship. But for me, I haven't... oh, fuck, it's complicated. I feel those companionship urges, but there is something intangible that makes it very easy to brush them aside. As in, yes, I am having this emotion, but no, it's not something to seek out or to feel like you're drowning over for this reason. And this reason I haven't been able to put my finger on. But of course, as always with these things, you have an idea of what it is, but you aren't sure. I think for me, it's recognition of what love for me has turned into. Like some Jackal's tape shit, except I'm not dead yet. Because I finally got to a point I let myself imagine what being in love with someone as 2025 Skimmerlit would look like. Who is she and who is she to you? And in the ugliest way I can put it, a thing I can jerk off into, a thing I can send out to do grunt work, and a thing I can, in a materialistic way, possess. The jerking off into for the sexual urges, the sending out to do grunt work shit, because there are a bunch of little things that need to get done, and they are little things, but I need to do them because I can't trust anyone else to do them. So if I can trust you, then I'll have you do them. And in the most curious way, the fundamental possession thing, I realized that's what that companionship urge is. It's not to be with someone or to know someone. It is the desire to have a person like a sofa and put them somewhere and just have them be there and know that I own it. And all that put together, okay. Why is Jake not you? Because on some level, you know that isn't what you really want, even if you could have it. What love has evolved into it evolved into it out of necessity, not out of. If you had your druthers, you'd much rather have the deep walking on clouds love, which has been on the way out since you were, what, 15? The current conception of love is the apotheosis of something you don't want, but is the best you think you can get. But not totally, because otherwise you wouldn't be feeling this. This is, or at least I think this is something you would have accepted. Anyway, why has it felt relatively easy and almost like you need to deny these companionship urges, hungers? It's because this is a hunger you don't want to feed. That would be bad for the person you get with. It would be really bad for you, because if we've arrived here, then can you imagine how much further there is to fall that you don't even see yet? And it's odd because this means there are multiple instincts operating on that instinctive guiding level within your body. We often talk about instincts as if they're one thing. This proves there's more than one set of instincts. And why am I repulsed by this new conception of love that I realized I have? I don't think it's because it's wrong. That is a conception of love that tracks with everything I think and why I think it. Actually, but not everything. That tracks strictly with the material and the negative. That is one way I think about things. There's also another way I think about things, which is the intangible, the mysterious, the determined, the self-evident. And I think that side has its own conception of love. And while the material and negative and the intangible, mysterious, and determined as two separate systems work in concert most of the time so well, or at least with so few misfires, you would mistake them as one, love is something they disagree on. Which is why staying away from all that shit has been, not effortless, but not a pressing concern. Despite having those urges, those companionship urges. Because these urges are not something you want to allow to grow. And it's painful thinking about this stuff because you let yourself think things about yourself, or think about things about yourself you don't normally like entertaining. What would a material negative relationship like that look like if you got one? It would be really great. You'd have a robot. Your sexual needs would be met, your workload would be lightened, your conqueror type needs to possess would be satisfied, maybe, for now. If the material negative side of you were the only part of you, that would be the ideal relationship. But it's not. And in an arrangement like that, you would be missing that other thing. And it's difficult because I don't have a conception of what, go figure, that tracks. I don't have a conception of what... I don't have a conception of something intangible and mysterious. Although, now that we've built this binary, another reason binaries are useful, not always all-encompassing, but very useful when you establish them like colonies in savage lands, maybe we now have a way to start trying to figure out this other sort of love, so we aren't spinning our tires in receiving negative material urges and intangibly denying them for 20 years. It's just curious watching things you didn't realize were separate fight, wage like a cold war over parts of you. And maybe I could feel it happening, but I didn't investigate it. All this time, I had an idea, but I didn't sit there and think through it. The negative and material got a hold of love and changed it. That's what it's spent the last few years doing. But that other part is strong enough to counterbalance and stand in the way of it. Maybe they're still working in concert, and it's me trying to view them as not cooperating here. Either way, I don't want friends, I do want love, but I don't know what kind. But, again, if we're doing the binary thing, then determination and self-evidence is a big part of it, so I will trust the process. It will reveal itself to me in a dream. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you haven't.